Hi everyone, this is Dr. E and it's your week 5 instructional video. I'm so sorry that I'm posting this late, that things are a little bit messy right now. Not only is my body kind of working against me, but technology as well. Some of you may have been affected by the update that was run this weekend, which made some D2L items and email. I still can't get into my email. So there are some remaining issues, but let's focus on what we can do for our class. So I'm just going to go to our weekly module, and you'll see that we have some chapters and a video to watch, which the video is, I feel like I say Finley is my favorite, and then I say Choi's reading is my favorite, and then Lee, I like all of them, which is why I chose them. So hopefully you get some enjoyment out of watching that as well. But we do have some readings, so we want to focus on evaluating sources, so how we think about academic writing in the future in terms of like what sources should we use, what kinds of critical thinking should we employ when we're choosing those sources, and then thinking a little bit about designing our writing depending on the guidelines for an assignment, and composing and remixing across media, which is pretty fitting given we have our multimedia project that is due this week, as well as our food journal collection, right? So these are all the items this week, right? I'm just going to jump down. Notice that I've crossed out the mind map. I have no idea why I originally assigned a mind map for this week, because it's a pretty intense week, so I didn't think anybody would really mind missing it. Hopefully that's the case. So here's the Q&A area. This is the food journal collection video. I want you to note that because of just my voice and everything with the technology right now, it's a video from a previous time that the item was due in a course. So if you see something about like the number of food journals that need to be revised and edited, don't let that fool you. That was for a full semester assignment. Those guidelines for our course are definitely right here, right? It's just revising, updating, editing what you've already submitted, and then adding a little bit to that, right? If you've looked at the assignment, then that makes sense. So this is just to give you kind of a visual of what the assignment looks like, and to go through some of those guidelines that are exactly the same. You're watching what will appear as number 1, and it wouldn't be a bad idea to go in and review the multimedia project video, which maybe I'll go in and add that here. But remember that all the assignments, everything from our course, can be found here, including the videos. So you have that resource there, you have those resources there. I've just put a lot of stuff to review in terms of, we have a template for the food journal collection, there's an example. I'm trying to put here, and I know it may feel overwhelming to some of you, but to others I hope it's helpful in terms of just providing you with some guides and a quick way to reference them when needed. There's also this right here, which is how to view my feedback once that feedback is available, and I want to note that I'm probably not going to be able to finish that by today. Today's Monday. So I'm pushing not only our grace period a little bit, which I'll note in a second, but I will get that feedback to you by 5 p.m. on Tuesday. This does not mean you should not go in and start the work of revising, editing, and updating. You should absolutely do that, and then look at my feedback as kind of one of the final steps in the revision process. If you are following the guidelines for the assignment for the food journal collection, you should not have to overhaul anything based on my feedback, okay? So just let that comfort you in terms of like my feedback should not throw you for a loop necessarily. A lot of times my feedback is just kind of generally reminding you about some of those guidelines if that's necessary, but also just offering general feedback and some options for you to consider in terms of organization or that kind of thing. This is how you view feedback in a Turnitin assignment. So if you have questions, you can walk into that. For some reason, again, technology, Turnitin is not offering this purple icon right here. The purple is usually for grammar-based things, which is never really my focus anyway. I usually leave that on just so that you can see that, so that you can kind of get a sense of what maybe some of your writing habits are, or some things to think about in the future when submitting written assignments. So again, my focus is really not on the grammar unless it's detracting completely from anybody being able to understand or follow your ideas. But this just gives you a visual of how to view that feedback, because you'll want to view the feedback that I provide for your food journal, the second submission, before you submit the final, right? The food journal collection. So let's go ahead and take a look at that, the food journal collection. I've tried different ways of, like, one semester I just put very brief things right here, along with the video and everything, and it's, for some folks more detail is helpful, and for some folks more detail is just very overwhelming. So try to understand the kind of student you are, and if this looks overwhelming, take a step away, go and look at the guidelines separately, do whatever it is you need to do to kind of stay on track and not just feel too overwhelmed to continue, right? Okay, so of course your goal is to revise the previous journal, right? But you're also going to add information to it, right? So I've included the previous prompts and what you want to add, right? So you want to, in addition to Finley, which we added those, you know, in our second submission, add information related to Choi or Lee, bring in another conversation about food. But remember, this is about you, right? This is a writing piece about your food habits and culture and experience. That research is only there to support your ideas. One way to make sure that you are moving in that direction is to have those topic sentences in each paragraph about you. It's not about, oh, Finley this, Choi that. The topic sentences, if you underline them, which I've asked you to do here, you should be able to, at a quick glance, see that those sentences all relate to you and are not just about, because sometimes, oh, cats, sometimes when we're writing for academic work, we are going to the research. We don't feel like we should include anything about ourselves, but this is a requirement of our assignment, right? I am asking you to write about yourself and to then use research to support your ideas, which, y'all, ultimately, academic writing, research is always there to support your ideas. You are creating an argument, even if it's not about yourself, and that research is there to support you, to show what you know, right? And to support your ideas. So I've included all information here. Please take some time to review the details and all that. You want to get the best possible grade, right? So just double check those details before you submit your work. Okay. That's the food journal collection. And then we have our multimedia project, which is in the discussion post area, right? Forgive me, animals everywhere. There are guidelines. There is the video that you can watch with the instructions. If you have any questions about this assignment, your first and best bet is to go look at the guidelines and the video, because especially the video has examples. The guidelines also have links to examples, so you can get a sense of what other people have submitted and done. But it is a writing class, right? So you are required to include some paragraphs. Those paragraphs are not related to your food journal. They are related specifically to the project you have chosen, okay? Okay, and then you also have your week 5 quiz, which is based on all the readings, Jennifer Aitley's video, as well as this video. I'm trying to make sure I haven't forgotten anything in my kind of dazed and confused mind right now. You also have bonus credit that you can submit. That is a hard deadline of Thursday. So that's optional. You absolutely do not have to complete it. I'll add a link down here. I always hesitate to do that because I think that when I put things down here, people assume it's required, but it's not. And you can find that another way, just like you can find discussions up here. You can find assignments. And if you click on assignments, that's where all of the items we upload go, right? And you're right here. Okay. So I'm also going to, because we have a deadline for the food journal collection of Thursday, which would give us a 48-hour grace period of that being due on Saturday ultimately. I'm going to push that to Sunday, given that I'm providing you with feedback later than I planned, much later than I planned, which again, many apologies. I appreciate y'all's patience and your kindness. I know it's kind of the worst week to have technology issues and health issues. Hopefully y'all are doing well. Sending out all the good vibes and healthy vibes to you. But let me know if you have any questions. You can post here. I'll work to update, like I'll add the multimedia project video link here. I'll add the bonus assignment link here, and I'll also create a checklist, which I've clearly forgotten to do. Y'all bear with me. We'll get there. We're so close to the finish line, so don't lose don't lose your energy yet. I say this knowing that my energy is waning, but I got to push through and get that feedback to you, and all kinds of other things to close out our course as well. So hang in there, but definitely take care of yourself and let me know what you need. All right, good luck.